Listen, like most car enthusiasts out there, I have a dream car. And I don't care if it's basic, but look, my dream car is the Mark IV Supra. That or the FD RX-7. I know, I sound like a JDM fanboy, I sound like I'm 12 years old, but here's the thing, I genuinely grew up loving them cars. I don't know what it is, they just have an aura to them, okay? I can't really describe it, but they just have an aura. I grew up on Fast and Furious and all of the old school Need for Speed games, so I was just naturally drawn to them cars through nostalgia anyway. And don't get me wrong, I love old American muscle cars, I love old German cars, but for me, it is the old 90s Japanese sports cars that really hit the sweet spot. Of course, as you guys know, right now I have a Mazda MX-5 NB, and it, I absolutely love it. It's definitely one of my favorite cars I've ever driven, and that's kind of the reason why I bought it, because they're so infectious to drive, but also it has that 90s Japanese styling kind of, and it looks like a baby RX-7 a little bit, okay, a little bit. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the goal one day is to own something like a Supra or an RX-7. I mean, especially I love the R32 GTR Skyline. Stunning car. What I'm trying to say is everybody has their dream car, okay? It's one of them things which we all have. But the thing is, a dream car, the reality of actually owning one might not be as glamorous as we all think. I do genuinely believe it's the reason why we do have attainable dream cars. We don't just go for the dream car, because they do have their drawbacks, and it took me a long time to understand this. Now, I just want to say this video does not apply to everyone, because everyone's in a different situation, right? Some people, that their dream car could be super cheap. It could literally be just a regular Honda Civic. I don't know, but this is going off most people, or most people's experiences when it comes to buying their dream car, or wanting to buy their dream car. Just before I get attacked in the comments below. But firstly, considering that we're all in a similar situation, dream cars are very expensive, and most of the time we probably won't be able to afford our dream car. I mean, it's kind of why they're called a dream car and not a reality car, Usually they're rare, they're expensive, and they're overinflated. And I'm heavily hinted into old 90s Japanese cars here, but there's also, so many others that are like this. I mean, look at American muscle cars. They have now massively went up in price, especially ones from the 60s and 70s. I mean, living in the UK, it's pretty hard to get your hands on one anyway, because all of them are imported, but, even Mustangs used to be around the 10, 15 grand mark. Now they're like 20, 30, 40. So the prices have definitely shot up. And I know I just mentioned it, but Japanese cars, I mean, wow, that's crazy. I mean, they are so expensive these days. Even old German cars now, and a lot of people are going to these because they're basically the new cheap. It's like the new meta, like a 330i is the new meta, I reckon, because you can pick one up for really cheap. But things like the E46 M3, decently, not too expensive for what it is, but now they are starting to really rise up in price. So yeah, the dream cars from our childhood aren't really, they're not really that affordable anymore. And they never were cheap in the first place, but they're definitely at a point now where it's harder and harder to buy. And I mean, if your dream car is a supercar, if it is an old Ferrari, if it is a Lamborghini Murcielago, just good luck. I don't even know. I mean, that is ultimate dream car territory right there. And then if you want to go to things like a Bugatti Veyron, or I don't know, a Porsche Carrera GT, like, I don't know. Now we're going into prices that are just, yeah, you need to basically be a millionaire to afford these cars. I do just want to quickly say I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribe. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe at any time, so you might as well. So please feel free to hit the subscribe button. Anyway, back to the video. So let's say you've saved up and you finally bought your dream car. You finally bought your dream car, whatever that is, whether it's an old 60s muscle car, whether it's a JDM car, whether it's even a supercar. Let's look at the reality of it. Now, a lot of issues which a lot of car enthusiasts get, especially younger car enthusiasts who haven't really owned that many cars yet, or they've not had too much experience. And I mean, and I can't really judge here, because I'm a young car enthusiast, and there's a lot that I still don't know about. But these cars are usually super expensive, just due to clout and hype and general. The reason why they are expensive is because everyone wants one, and there's not loads of them being made. I guarantee if the NA Miata was a rare car, they would be a lot more expensive than they are now. Luckily, there are so many that I'm pretty sure they're still making them from new. Like, they keep popping up. But anyway, what I'm saying is, a lot of rare, dream cars, whether it's an old muscle car or if it's an old Japanese car, they're usually hyped up way more than, you know, how they actually are. So when people buy them, they have a huge expectation because it costs a lot of money, and they've been expecting this for a long time. They've been waiting for this moment for a long time. And what doesn't help is the fact that social media, video games, films, movies, that they're all gonna, you know, make this hype more and more. They're gonna raise expectations more and more. But what people find is when they actually buy the car and live with it and experience it for themselves, they don't actually enjoy it nowhere near as much as they thought they would, because their expectations are set so high from all the reasons that, you know, I just mentioned. So they don't actually enjoy the car, and then they end up, you know, realizing, you know, is this a mistake? And that's why a lot of these, you know, rarer, more enthusiast cars do have quite a few owners, because they're not sustainable to own for a long time. But if you do end up enjoying your dream car, which most people do, you know, it's kind of 50-50. I do believe the issues of owning your dream car kind of creep in a few months or a year or two after ownership. And there is this YouTuber called Mick Drives Cars, and he does sort of POV driving videos explaining, you know, different driving tips and that kind of thing. And he finally bought his dream car, which was the new M2, but he ran into a lot of issues, you know, further down the line. And it's also happened with someone I know, funnily the same car. They bought the new M2 on finance, and, you know, a couple months later they actually started to resent it a little bit. Like I said before, a dream car is expensive. Whether it's, you know, a 90s Japanese car or it's a brand new BMW, they will be expensive. And even if it's not expensive, you will be sentimentally tied to that car, if that makes sense. So you're going to care deeply about it, you know, you're going to care quite a lot about it. And the great thing about my MX-5 is, look, it is kind of my dream. It's my attainable dream car, right? Like, it's not my end goal, but I am happy with it. But I don't care so much about parking it in places that I have to worry. You know, I'm not going to worry about if it gets a little scuff. You know, I can fix it. I'm not too fussed about that. You know, it's not kept in a garage the whole time, and I'm not too worried about someone stealing it because it is so cheap. Now, of course, it would still affect me, and it would still, you know, it would be awful if anything happened to it. But if I had a 60-70 grand brand new BMW M2 on finance, I would be constantly worried about it all of the time. The same goes if I had a Mark IV Supra. Right now, I do not have a garage. You know, I live at home with my parents. They use their garage for their car. I don't put my car in their garage. Or garage, whatever you call it. But if I had something like an RX-7 or a Supra or a BMW M3, M2, whatever, I would want to keep it in a garage over winter, or at least, you know, at night, so it doesn't get stolen. Because not only is it super expensive, it's also extremely sentimental. And like I said before, this is where the novelty, you know, slowly starts to creep off a little bit, because you do unfortunately have to deal with these things. You know, you've finally bought your dream car, and you will worry about it. You will, you know, want to take excellent care of it. There is a huge solution to this, and I know this, the kind of reason why I wanted to make this video is because I feel like a lot of people spend way too much money on their car, and they forget about their other expenses, and then they end up falling out of love with the car community, or they stop becoming a car enthusiast because of this. I've talked about it a lot in previous videos, especially recently, but there is a huge solution to this, and it's not just about living below your means, but genuinely, a car is one of the most expensive things you can buy, and when you really stretch your expenses for that dream car, you won't enjoy it as much, which is why the solution is to buy the attainable dream car. And I know people will be rolling their eyes, and I know they say never meet your heroes, and it kind of does apply to cars, especially because they're so expensive. So unless you're rich, it's really hard to enjoy them, you know, the dream car. And it's kind of why I love my MX-5, you know, it's why I love my Miata, because it's not my ultimate dream car. No, I would much rather probably have an RX-7 or a Supra. But if I did that, it would be financially, you know, it'd be terrible. It'd be such a mistake. But with my Miata, I'm able to enjoy so many other things in life and not have the pressure, and I don't have to baby it as much, but I can still look after it and have fun with it. I do love dream cars though, because they do symbolize ambition, and it gives you something to work towards, which is so important in life. But sometimes when you get there and you finally meet your hero, you know, in this case, buy your dream car, because you're spending so much money and it's such a sacrifice, you don't really enjoy it as much. Like I said, if you're rich, or if you do have the money, fine, but a lot of people have to stretch for that thing, and it's kind of the reason why a lot of, you know, older car enthusiasts have their dream car or something close, because, you know, they've had a family, they've sold, they've downsized, and they have a bit of, they have a bit more left in their retirement fund to actually buy their dream car. So please, please, please look into your obtainable dream car. Like I said, mine was an MX-5. Probably next it might be, a 350Z or an S2000, but I know that one day I may be able to have an RX-7, but right now it's just not gonna happen. And when I do finally own an RX-7 or Supra, will it be as fun as my MX-5? Will I be able to have as much fun in it, because I will be constantly worrying about it? But I mean, everyone's different, but I think for most people, live within your means and don't sacrifice other areas of your life to get something that, you may not even enjoy as much as you think. You'll probably love it, but it does come with a lot of sacrifice. I know this video was pretty heavily opinionated, so it'd be interesting to hear your guys' views in the comments below. But like I said before, please subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe at any time, and I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, so please feel free to hit that subscribe button. I will see you in the next one. Ciao for now.